Welcome to the post-race show, a Monster Energy AMA Supercross, part of the SMX World Championship. Beautiful downtown Indianapolis, and we had a huge crowd. They have now left the building, but they got to see some great racing tonight. Jason Wygant and Ricky Carmichael here. Well, we're left trying to find maybe some holes in the game of Jet Lawrence, maybe Triple Crowns. No, not Triple Crowns, not anymore.
Yeah, he's been very, very impressive, like outside of the norm when you think about Daytona, Birmingham, and especially here tonight. In these type of conditions, I can't explain to you just how hard it is to pull off three race wins against this competition, the level of talent that is out there right now, and he's just making it happen in a very difficult condition.
So let's show you what it looked like. Monster Energy Supercross from Indianapolis. Yes, the Triple Crown had been a problem for Lawrence throughout his 250 career. He only won one of those in his many years in that class. Struggled at the first Triple Crown of the year in the 450 of Anaheim. Here is race one, Ken Roczen. So good early, and he has the Ghostbusters hole shot.
Man, he was riding incredible all night long and really putting the pressure on Jet Lawrence and the rest of the field, making those guys, especially Jet, have to perform. Make good starts, ride good laps, but also not panic as well. A guy like Ken Roczen isn't easy to pass at this level.
But Lawrence does make the move there a few minutes into the race. Cooper Webb moving forward. A pass on Anderson. It's the rider second of the points, but then out of his control here.
Sadly, just wrong place, wrong time. Cade Clayson makes a mistake and just takes down Cooper Webb. And I hate this because when you think about it, this really changed the night and what the night looks like for Cooper Webb and possibly championship, what the championship looks like.
Cooper would end up 8th in this race, and Lawrence, after winning the duel at Roczen, takes the race 1 win. We go to race number 2. This time Lawrence off to the early lead, but watch Roczen on the charge in yellow.
Again, Ken Roczen explosive at the beginning of the races, always has been one of his strong suits. Making the pass on Jet, he's able to execute this rhythm section, which was key.
Aaron Plessinger nearly gets the 18 of Lawrence as well.
Oh, I can't believe that. I can't believe that Chase Sexton saved that. Actually, that just shows you the strength in Chase Sexton. He's a big boy to be trying to knock around.
And there is the move, Lawrence on Roczen.
Yeah, great pass by Jet Lawrence. No contact made, just a great competitive pass.
And Sexton, we're starting to see the old form here. Halfway through this race.
Well, he is. He looked fast as each race went on. Assuming they are making some good adjustments for Chase Sexton. Just the starts weren't helping him.
Nearly makes contact with Anderson, who made a mistake there and eventually would finish it off with a pass. Checkered flags out, and Jet Lawrence, he made one mistake late. Roczen got close, but Lawrence able to hold on. You just can't mention the treacherous conditions.
Oh, it was gnarly, and even the riders were talking about it.
Oh yeah, hard to be perfect out here, but that's what Lawrence is going to try to do. Knifes up the inside. He and Roczen, another showdown, but this time Sexton has a good start as well.
Yeah, I was just looking there. Eli Tomac came into the first corner first, but then he got closed out as they got into that rhythm section. But yeah, if you didn't like the first 2 races, you're not going to like what you saw this last one, that's for sure.
Aaron Plessinger didn't like that.
Look, AP looked like he was upset, but I don't think that was on purpose by Jason Anderson. Jason Anderson made a 90-degree right turn in the whoops.
Here's the pass this time. Lawrence, he also had to deal with Sexton behind him. Great fight between he and Roczen.
Well, it was go time for a second there. I thought maybe Lawrence was going to lay up and just take the second, but he didn't have a choice. He had to get after it or he's going to get passed by the defending Supercross champ.
And finally finishes the pass off on Roczen there. Yes, had Sexton passed Lawrence, Roczen was going to win the overall. Sexton keeps going, he takes second.
Yeah, again, a great run by Chase Sexton in this final race of the Triple Crown, and I expect that he'll have some more good races and continue to get better. He said that they're working on the track, or working on the bike.
No work left for this guy to do. 1-1-1 in the Triple Crown, 3 straight weekends where he has the win and quickly stretching the points lead. There's the hug from his Honda HRC team manager, Lars Lindstrom. Roczen and Sexton on the podium. It was close between those two. And we'll show you those overall results to show how close it was. Roczen second, Sexton third. Anderson had his ups and downs, but he was fourth. And again, that first race crash by Webb really set him back. He ends up fifth.
It did, yeah. He was playing catch up from that point on, and stuff like that can really turn the tides of how your night go. He talked about it on the podium, and you hate to see it. You know, just one slip up by a guy getting lapped early on in the race, and man, it just completely changes the tune of what these points look like.
Now, these are not the series standings. This is the Triple Crown points. We do hand out a trophy to the rider who does the best in the 3 Triple Crown races that we have in a given season. Webb won the first Triple Crown at Anaheim, and 4th, I believe, tonight. Leads him with a small advantage over Lawrence and then Roczen in our Triple Crown standings. So that's another championship within a championship to watch. Chase Sexton was our Triple Crown champion last year, and of course, the Supercross season champ as well. So let's get an update on Sexton, who showed some signs of speed here tonight. Send it to Will Christian.
Thank you, Jason. Catching up with Chase Sexton now after the podium there, Chase. You talked a lot to me on the podium about how you're starting to feel a lot more like yourself. I think the booth seeing it, we're all seeing that kind of like Chase Sexton speed is coming back. So how do you feel about it? Where are you at with the bike? And is that a big part of it, or is this kind of come down to you personally in a sort of mental side of things?
It's a little bit of both. I still don't have, I don't know if I don't have the speed or the spark that I had last year yet. It's coming back, trying to get better every week. I had a pretty gnarly off season, just not being able to do a lot of motos, and I'm really just, I wish I was like where I'm at now before the season started, but it is what it is, and better late than never. So obviously we're not where we want to be as far as winning races, but I feel like we're starting to kind of climb back towards the top, and tonight was a good telltale of where I'm heading. And my starts, like I said, I need a lot of work on my starts, but other than that, my riding was pretty good tonight. I think I came through the pack well, made good passes, which I haven't done in a while, and starting to see some more of what I had last year.
When you make the change, as you did before the season started there, and do the team switch, how much of that are you really prepared for? I mean, yourself, other riders, everyone's had to go through it, but is it a bigger deal? Do you have to go through more than you ever sort of really imagined?
Yeah, it's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I think I didn't really take into account the aluminum frame to steel frame. It's a big difference, and yeah, we're kind of paying the price for that right now. But like I said, we'll get there, and yeah, these are just growing pains and steps that we got to take to get back to the top.
Great attitude as always, Chase. It's good to see you back on the path to the top. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Here's your Monster Energy 450 season standings. That's the big difference. You always say, RC, if you get one race back, you're in trouble, and Webb's the only one within a race now.
Yeah, I mean, you're not always in trouble, but stats will show you that you're going to need a little bit of luck, especially against a guy like Jet Lawrence and just his ability and what we think he is capable of doing.
Sexton is 25 down. That's one full race. We'll be going to Seattle next weekend, but I think everyone knows that things are changing in a hurry in this championship, and that includes our own Jason Thomas, who's got a report trackside and more on this Lawrence surge. JT?
So I'm standing in the whoops where, in my opinion, race 3 was won and lost. And this is where Jet Lawrence was jumping to. Now, my cameraman is standing on the takeoff, and I'm standing on the landing. And you can see behind me how these ruts are where Jet Lawrence was landing. And this is the kicker. This is the margin for error. You see where this tough block is, and you see where he cross ruts if he lands just to his right of that. You're talking about a 6-inch window that he's got to navigate each and every lap. And I think that really speaks to where we are in this series right now. And big picture, we're at a tipping point in the story of Jet Lawrence. Now, I think if you go back over time, you go back to 1993 and you watch Jeremy McGrath, you go to 2001 and you watch Ricky Carmichael dethroning Jeremy McGrath, there's always a moment in time, however brief, when you can see the tide turning, you can see the torch being handed to whoever is going to go on the next great run. I believe that time is right now. Jet Lawrence has won 3 races in a row. They're throwing everything they have at him, and it's still not enough. He's learning, he's checking each box. Here in Indianapolis, he learned how to win all 3 Triple Crown races. So I ask, what's next? I would say really nothing. I think we are on the precipice of Jet Lawrence going on the next great run. And you could say that's hyperbolic, but history would argue that point and say that's exactly where we are tonight.
Thank you, JT. Those are strong words, but look, we have seen this before. Rick Johnson wins 2 out of 3 titles. Then Jeff Stanton wins 3 out of 4, takes over. Jeremy McGrath takes over from there and wins 7 out of 8. And then you, Ricky Carmichael, from there won 5 titles in 6 years. If my math is right, that's 15 titles out of 18 seasons between 3 riders. So we've seen dominant runs and title streaks before. And as JT's saying, sometimes it happens real fast. Are we there now?
Well, I mean, I think we are, and that's why I said it at the beginning of the show. If he comes out and solidifies, if he wins, he solidifies himself as a champion, and this is his championship to lose. And I kind of elaborate on what JT said. He is checking all the boxes off. He's making rookie mistakes, but then he comes back, he retaliates, and he doesn't make those same mistakes very often. 2 times. He comes out here, everyone's like, oh, he's not very good statistically, and look, he just crushed the stat book here tonight. This is what he's capable of. Honestly, the only way that anyone's going to beat him for the championship is if they rely on his rookie mistakes. He's going to have to make some rookie mistakes. He's going to have to get better when Mother Nature rains down. He definitely needs to improve there. I mean, you go back and you start digging deep. What if we didn't? I know you say what if, but what if we didn't have mud races at San Francisco and San Diego? You want to bet that he probably wouldn't have won one of those 2 races? I mean, so you start really digging in. And he probably would have had more wins by now. I know it's if. I get that. You guys are going to tear me up for that. But he's just that good. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I love seeing greatness. I have a ton of respect for all these guys. And JT's right. They are throwing everything they can at this guy. They're doing everything possible, trying to beat him in any way, shape, or form. But every time they try and he is able to overcome them, then he's just gaining more and more experience by that. So he's going to be tough to beat. He's going to be around a long time. If you don't like it, you better learn to love it.
Yeah, well, I can also say this, though. When McGrath had his run and you had your run, that was in some ways great for the sport, to have that level of greatness. I mean, you can track how popular Supercross was when McGrath started winning and then when it ended. So sometimes these runs have positives, even though we like the parody as well.
Well, you're watching greatness, and I can tell you, too, what you say. Once you learn how to do it, the rest is history from that point.
Here are your 250 highlights from Monster Energy Supercross SMX in Indianapolis. Hayden Deegan needing a bounce back after missing the podium 2 races in a row after winning 3 weeks ago. And the championship battle had tilted in the direction of the Frenchman Tom Vial. Daxton Bennick with a good start early. Gonna have to battle with Cameron McAdoo, though.
Yeah, this was a wild night, but I said at the top of the show, this guy, Cameron McAdoo's been sneaky, and he's had 3 second place finishes in a row. You keep knocking out those seconds like that, that win is just around the corner, and man, he has been riding superb.
But Vial, the series leader, gets around Bennick for second. There's Max Anstey, who was leading the points a week ago. More bad luck and problems for him. So Vial, we wanted to see the battle between he and McAdoo, but here's Vial in the whoops.
Yeah, I hated to see that for Tom Vial because I felt like I still feel like that. He's a completely different guy than he was at the beginning of this series, and I think he's here to stay and contend and be a title threat.
You saw Deegan sneak by Vial when Vial went down. That will loom large in a moment because he takes second, but there is McAdoo taking the race 1 win. So we go to race number 2. Like I said, Deegan needed the bounce back, and he sure got it here. Starts to go to work early on his teammates.
Yeah.
And Jalek Swoll also up front.
Yeah, that was a great start by Jalek Swoll, and I've been saying if he can get continue to get those good starts like he does, we're gonna see a lot more of him.
So there's Deegan to the lead, and here's the challenge. Seth Hamaker, look out.
Well, that was a good replay right there. And what happened is Hamaker overjumped the double just before that triple and still went to try to do the triple, comes way short. Matt Crash will end his night for the most part.
Oh, and Pierce Brown, a tough one, luckily unhurt. And he was struggling in the first race where he got 12th. But
hey, this guy's a quiet contender. He ain't far out of the points championship.
So Deegan wins race number 2. McAdoo would end up finishing second. So now we're looking at each rider with a first and second going into the 3rd race. They were tied. Here they are. Gate picks. Probably a little tension as well.
Of course.
It's on the line.
I mean, all these guys, it's winner take all, right? So whoever wins out of these two beats these two.
And there it comes undone for Deegan. He tags the tough block. That's him starting that pile up. Vial to the lead, but Deegan is essentially out of contention now already.
He was, but he would have a really good comeback. But right there, he just kind of gets squeezed down, and his foot peg collected that tough block and sent him on a 180. That's what happens if had he gotten a better start out of the gate, he would have been able to dodge that.
Here is Vial. Good rebound in race number 3. He'll take the checkered flag, and that'll be enough for second overall because Deegan had to make the comeback ride in this one. That bumped him down to third. And Cameron McAdoo, who has become, dare I say, McAdoo is Mr. Consistency in this series. 2-2-1 in the last 4 races. He takes the congrats from Brown, who did rebound in this 3rd race, and Vial. And of course, the kiss from his wife, Maddie. And the red plate, he takes over the championship lead.
Yeah, I love what I saw from Cameron McAdoo, and he is well deserved. He's put himself in the right spot every single weekend.
These are the results from the Triple Crown. Vial, as I said, upends Deegan to still second there at the end. Pierce Brown, bad starts, crashes, you name it, still ends up 4th overall with a strong ride in the final race. And Cody Schock was riding about 6 days after a broken collarbone.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think he gets the Tough Man Competition award after this weekend. That's incredible. When I heard that he was lining up, I'm like, get out of town.
Yeah. Plate on the collarbone, 5th overall. As I mentioned, McAdoo now leading the championship as we show you the points here by 2 over Vial. You said that Pierce Brown is a title contender. He is. He's still 3rd, but Deegan's not quite out of it. And there's a lot left and a couple weekends off in the 250 East Division for these guys to try to get stronger and come back and battle again. Monster Energy Supercross is proud to support the kids and families at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And our hashtag LoveMotoStopCancer text to donate campaign continues. Go to supercrosslive.com/St. Jude or text the word super to 785-833 and get our commemorative t-shirt. Manufacturer standings, this is the best ranking 250 and 450 rider each race in SMX. Yamaha has that lead based on the strength of that Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha team, but Kawasaki keeping them close. McAdoo got the full points haul tonight with the win in the 250 division. Anderson's been holding it down for them in the 450s. That'll be a fun one to watch all season long. And don't forget Honda. I mean, you got Jet Lawrence on top. They need Hymas and Shimoda to step up the 250 game. And I mentioned Shimoda because I want to remind everybody, we're going to Seattle 250 West. We'll be back next weekend. And also Seattle, kind of like the ruts we're talking about here, sometimes one of the trickier tracks.
Yeah, and Mother Nature hasn't always been kind there at Lumen Field, so I'm looking forward to it. The fans are incredible there. That place is going to be going off for sure. And you talked about the 250 West Coast. You think about Levi Kitchen and RJ Hampshire. Those two guys are going neck and neck. Going to be a lot of fun to watch those guys. Got to get back in that swing, get back, look at our notes. But let's see, pardon me, if Jet Lawrence is able to continue that win streak. I talked about it at the top of the show. For me, I always felt like the 3rd one when I was going on a roll was the hardest one to get through, and then 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row were a little bit easier, came a little bit easier. I don't know if that's the case for Jet Lawrence, but maybe we can ask him this week and see what he has to say. But you know what? He hasn't been good in the wet. So that's what I'm looking forward to going to Seattle if Mother Nature doesn't cooperate. And then, of course, the 250 battle is always exciting.
And don't forget, this is all part of a season-long championship that we call SMX, not only Supercross, but the Pro Motocross Championship. And the SMX playoffs for the 2nd year ever. Once again in September, we will start at Charlotte's ZMAX Dragway, then we'll go to Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas, and we got a race in Las Vegas back on the calendar. That's the strip, the drag strip in Las Vegas, September 21st. Pride and money on the line. Switch back to Seattle mode here. Take us through the Yamaha.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing here is like, what is it going to rain? Are we going to have good conditions? This is outdoor stadium. but a pretty traditional racetrack, going to a football field. A lot of 180 back and forth. Let's hope that Mother Nature cooperates, because if so, it will be a really good racetrack. A lot of 180s. Now, those whoops are going to be modified. We're only going to a 9-whoop rule this year. Back across the start straight. One thing that always is a challenge here at Seattle Lumen Field is the dirt. It gets really rocky and pebbly, and can get a hard base. So that's going to be tricky for these guys to get as much traction and put that power to the ground and get a good feel underneath their motorcycle.
Yes, you mentioned the weather. We know, shockingly, that it rains in the Pacific Northwest, and that is an open stadium. But yes, even on the dry years, that track ends up being tricky. So it's going to be tough no matter what. And remember, when we were racing on the West Coast earlier in the year, we had shifted the start times of those to make it a little bit easier to watch on the East Coast. So we'll start race day live at 2:30 Eastern from Seattle. You can watch on Peacock or the SMX Video Pass. And 8 p.m. Eastern time will be our time to drop the gate for the races on Peacock and the SMX Video Pass. That's 5 o'clock Pacific. Should be a good one, although, yes, I think right now they've got to hope for maybe an unforced error from Jet Lawrence for some of these established stars to get back in the game. 250 East is going to go on ice for a couple weeks. 250 West will be back. We had difficult conditions and great racing here at Indy. We expect the same thing in Seattle. For Ricky Carmichael, Jason Thomas, and Will Christian, I'm Jason Wygant saying so long from Indy. Congrats to Cameron McAdoo and Jet Lawrence.